Hi, my name is Anna, and today I'm going to show you how you can make an adorable sock monkey just like this one. I'm showing you the traditional method to create this look. And you'll find a link to the free pattern in the description down below. Let's get started. You'll need the following supplies. Head on over to funsockcity.com for all your sock needs, including the ones you'll need for this project. Begin by setting aside one of the socks and turning the remaining sock inside out. And then, rather than laying it sideways with the heel to the side, lay it with the heel straight up. Then draw a line down the center, starting about 1.5 inches below that bottom heel line. Just draw a line down the center. Down here at the base, go ahead and just create some curves. These are going to be the feet. Now, all you'll do is sew down next to this line. Do not sew on the line. Just sew next to it using about 1/4 inch inseam. All the way down next to it and then down along that curve. You may do this by hand or with your sewing machine, and I'll be using my sewing machine. Trim off any excess thread, then cut around those legs and then cut between your sewing lines. Be very careful not to cross the seam. And then just leave it open right up here at the top. That's where we'll stuff through. Now turn the sock right side out. Now stuff the monkey as full as you can get it. It uses a lot more stuffing than you think it will, but you want it to be really full. So some of my sock kind of separated up here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up with my knot up there. And I'm going to do that by coming in on the underneath side and going right back in right there where I came out. And I'm going to lock my knot into place. Just bringing those two sides together, keeping my stitches pretty close together so that stuffing doesn't come out. And pull those two opposite sides together. And I'm going to go up this way a little bit too because mine kind of separated a little bit right there. Now I'm going to knot this off and just sew that remaining opening closed. Again, you have to knot the thread into place. I like to come in from the underneath side, near where I'm going to start. Pull the needle out and then push it back in right near where you came out. And then before you pull that thread, you'll insert the needle between the threads and then pull it tight. And that will just lock it so it will stay there. So to do this stitch, put the needle in and then bring it to the opposite side, in and out, and pull that tight. And I just do that over and over, keeping those stitches close together to keep the stuffing inside. When you're all finished, knot it off and then push the needle in right by where you knotted it off and pull it out a little bit away and cut it off, and it gets sucked right back in there. You can leave your feet just like this if you want, or you can create a little bend like this, which is what I'm going to show you how to do. First, I'm going to mark them so that I put them in the same spot, lining up these white parts right where I'm going to put the thread. And I am going to come out a little bit further. I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't going to show. So first I'm going to lock my thread into place. Then folding that, I'm just going to bring both those sides together. Grab one side and the other side. If you want a more dramatic bend, all you have to do is just fold it more and increase the distance between the attaching, so then it'll make a stronger bend, but I didn't want a major bend in mine. And then knot it off and push that thread through and out in a place away from there. Cut it off and it should just stay right in there. So now repeat that same process on the other foot. Set this portion of the monkey aside and turn the other remaining sock wrong side out. And this time you'll lay it with the heel pointing to the side. Then mark and sew as shown with the blue on the diagram, and then cut where the yellow is. Now turn everything right side out With the tail and the arms, if you just get them started, and then you can use something long and slender to push that through. Then very slightly stuff the ears with just a little bit of stuffing, and then stuff the tail and the arms. Set the stuffed arms, tail, and ears aside, and on the monkey, place the muzzle. Decide where you want it to be and pin it into place, making sure to fold in those edges. And right here is where I'm going to leave it open for stuffing it. So I'm going to begin by inserting the needle underneath where the muzzle will be, pulling it out and locking the thread into place by going between the threads below the knot. Then simply sew it into place by weaving back and forth, and you want to keep your stitches very close together so that the stuffing doesn't come out. Alright, and before you close it all the way up, go ahead and stuff the muzzle with your polyfill, and you can do it quite full. And then go ahead and finish stitching that closed. I love that little muzzle, it's so cute. Alright, and then when you're all done closing it off, go ahead and knot your thread. With the muzzle on, it's a lot easier to decide where you're going to place everything. For my arms, I'm going to line them up kind of with the bottom of the muzzle, and then the ears right at the top of it, not in line with the very top, but maybe just a little bit lower. And I'll show you how to do those ears. So with your thread tied off, lock it into place. And I like to start at one of the corners of the ear. Just make sure those raw edges are tucked in, and sew back and forth to sew it closed. Once you get to the end, pinch these two sides together, and then just sew that in place so it doesn't come apart. Put it right where you want it on your monkey, and just sew that also into place, keeping that fold towards the front of the body. And then once you're finished with that, you can just knot it off and tuck that thread back inside the monkey and cut it off. And repeat this process with the other ear. For the arms, you can just tuck in that raw fabric, and as you attach it, just keep making sure that you tuck in that raw fabric. Once you've gone all the way around, just knot it off like we've done all the other things and push it back in through the body. And repeat that process on the other side with the other arm. Now take whatever you're going to be using for your eyes, I'll be using buttons, and figure out where you'd like to place them. I think I'm going to place mine fairly close. And then I like to mark in the buttonholes where they're going to be so that when I'm sewing, I know right where to go, and it ends up exactly where I want them. Then again, lock your thread into place, slide it onto the button or whatever you're using, then push it in and come out on the other side right at one of your markings. Make sure the holes are lined up with your markings, and you'll just go back and forth, and then you can just sew them into place just like you would a normal button. But these ones are so big that I kind of have to tip the monkey, see my marking that I have, which is another reason that it's good to have those, and pull it out before I push it back into that hole. And do that a couple times, running each way and then again the other way. Once you feel that it's nice and secure on this side, you'll go to this other side and do the same thing, securing it into place. And then just tie it off underneath that button, and you can just cut it off right underneath there because it is hidden by the button. Some people like to stitch a mouth across here, but I feel like with this red heel, you don't need to. I like it just with the simple red heel. But if you'd like to, you could stitch across there. Now flip the monkey over. You will attach the tail using the same method that you used for the arms. And I'm going to attach it halfway below that white line and half above. And I'm gonna pin it into place this time, just to make sure I keep it centered. Make sure everything is secured very well, especially if you'll be giving this to a child. If you'll be giving it to a child, you may want to look into the special safety buttons that you can use for eyes. If you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any upcoming videos. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!